Hello, bonjour, namaste, ni hao, and ohio, everybody. What is going on? It is Galeriot here, and welcome back to the YouTube channel once again for another Danmachi video. And today we are beginning the road to season 5, and we are going to be doing a special series in order to get ready for season 5, and that is a reaction of every single episode in Danmachi. Now, what I mean by that is from season 1 to season 4, we're going to be reacting to every single episode on video, and of course we're going to be starting off with season 1 in this video. Now for season 1, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing 2 episodes per video, and then of course when we get to season 2 it's going to be the same thing, 2 episodes per video basically for season 2 as well. And then once we get to season 3 and 4, that is when we're gonna probably slow it down a little bit. Maybe for especially for season 3, we might still do 2 episodes per video. But for season 4, we're gonna lower it down to 1 episode per video. And then of course, hopefully, maybe by the time we get to, of course, season 5, we should be done and dusted. Now, of course, I think maybe even for season 4, we might have to pace it up a little bit. We'll have to wait and see. I took a lot of time to do this because of course I had to do my moving and everything, but I really wanted to get this started as we're only 1 month away from the start of the new season of Danmachi, of course season 5, and I thought we'd do something a little bit different, something a little bit special as well. Now the way this is going to work is that this is going to be a live commentary sort of thing basically, where I might pause the video here and there talking about certain details of the episode, talking about what I liked, what I disliked and stuff like that, talking about what I thought about it in the light novels and so on and so forth. So think of it as a sort of live commentary more so than anything else about, like, you know, the entire episode and my thoughts on the animation, the quality, sound design, all that sort of stuff. Along with that, keep in mind that there will be no audio, and the opacity, as you guys can see, is going to be an absolute minimum. I'm even thinking of reducing the size a little bit so that it's not like picked up by the copyright, but you're gonna see me in a big screen, and then of course in the bottom right, in a very opaque manner, you're gonna see the anime. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this doesn't get caught out by good old YouTube's copyright system. If it does, I might try and do some cheeky editing as well furthermore to help us out, but hopefully this is something to your guys' enjoyment. Let me know if you guys would like to see this on a daily basis, or if you want to see more in terms of the episode count, maybe do 3 episodes per video. I could do that as well. We can try and do something there, but yes, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff, and let me know your thoughts on, of course, episode 1 and 2 of Danmachi. Without further ado, let's get into it and let's watch Danmachi. Alright, so we're starting off very early on. This is ages and ages ago. The funny thing is that, right, I'm already going to pause it right here quickly before we get into, you know, the nitty-gritty of episode 1. This specific scene I've seen so many times because of Danbimo, because they actually adapted this exact scene actually in Danbimo. This exact start was in Danbimo's intro as well. It was the exact same. The movie, for the most part, it was exactly the same. So it was quite funny in that sense, of course, right? But along with that, one thing I will say as well that I really think that I remember vividly when I watched it for the very first time way back in 2016-17, I think it was, Danmachi season 1, that is I was already very engrossed by it because I was already coming off of a high of reading Percy Jackson when I was younger, right? 2012, 2011, I think I was reading Percy Jackson. And so, of course, you know, mythology was in my brain, you know, chugging at a high rate, you know, it was supreme rate. So for me, obviously seeing an anime with mythological beings, I was very intrigued. I was very, you know, intrigued, and I was very excited. So yeah, it made me very fascinated, obviously. This is what made me interested as well, is like the whole idea of, you know, effectively, you know, the gods being like, yeah, the gods being like able to give powers and stuff. Man, this was such a interesting thing to watch at the start. I will say, I kind of preferred, well, first and foremost, the light novels and Danmimo. The way they handled it, I feel like this starting scene, I think, was a little bit better. I think this specific Minotaur scene should have been a little bit deeper into the episode, maybe like 2-3 minutes. Start off like that, show us Bell obviously going into the dungeon for the first time, or not for the first time, but like this is obviously, I think this is about 3 weeks into his journey, I think it is, or 2 weeks, something like that. I can't remember the exact dates. It's not 2 months, I think it's 2 weeks actually. It's 2 weeks into his start, and show us him fighting against the goblins, show us the kobolds, and then show us him getting chased by the Minotaur. I think that would have been a lot better, in my opinion, for the first episode in the anime sense. And I think Danmimo did that way better. But of course, we see eyes here. Let me know if you guys would like to see me do this for Sword Oratoria at some point in the future. I'm quite curious to see what you guys would like to say, if you'd like to see that potentially. There it is, Falna. Or Magic Stone, I should say. Not Falna. Magic Stone. Okay, now this is very interesting. A lot of people, I feel, need to realize this, right? I'm sorry, but this was the setup of Bell and I's, literally, in a nutshell. A lot of people still hold out on this hope of like Ryu and so on and so forth, Seer, Freya, whoever. And look, I get it to an extent. This is the funniest, man. I got that whole concept of people saying that, you know, Bell should be with this character or that character, Aina as well. But Eyes was always the choice. The moment that happened, destiny was set effectively for Bell, you know? I think people need to kind of realize that as well in a way. Like, as much as I'd love to see Bell with somebody else, I think it would be great to see him with other characters as well. But that should be left for the what ifs and the fanfics. And we've seen a what if from Omori, we've seen fanfics from so many people. But even in those stories, I would always say, like, the way to do a significant other for Bell is to have it take it place when the Minotaur attack is happening and save him. Somebody saves him through that. It doesn't help that Omori likes building up all the other female love interests except Ice. That is a big problem on that front when it comes to Bell and Ice's relationship. He's built Ice specifically in Sword Oratoria, but there needs to be more of a build between the two characters, and I feel like we've seen that for every other character with Bell, but yeah. We've seen it very little for Bell and Ice. The music is also, like, one thing I will say, like, I really remember as well. I think now it's also a lot more nostalgic for me as well, because it was something that played in Danmimo so much. It's one of the things, again, I feel like Danchro missed out on a lot, is taking the elements of Danmachi from the anime itself. You know, they're already doing the anime quite a bit, but they never really nailed it on that front, in all honesty. Like, this background music is like the home screen music for Danmimo, sorry. The facial features, I've always said JC Staff have nailed, you know. Also, I feel like JC Staff, right, when it comes to the animation and art style, I feel like art style wise, I think they absolutely nailed it, to be honest, right, for the characters and stuff. I think I have no complaints on that front, art style and all. Animation itself, right, I think it's hit or miss, man. This is something I've always said about JC Staff. They are very inconsistent. Recently, I mean, feels like they have been somewhat consistent, but yeah. It's some balance, at least. Hey, listen. Aina's no different as well, by the way. Aina encouraged him just as much. I love the other guys also laughing a little bit. Zeus's voice, man. Again, I still wish, and I really do hope, that we do get Zeus and Hera in some way after we're done with Belle's story, because I know Omori's been very open about him not wanting to do Zeus and Hera until really after Danmachi's done. Um, and while we have seen Zeus and Hera in small ways in other game in Danmimo and Danchro as well, right? Danmimo, of course, in the 4th anniversary, and then Hera in the most recent wedding event as well in Danchro. Well, not seen her, but we learned more about her. I think it would be nice to get more afterwards as well. Learn what happened, in that really early years of Orario with Zeus and Hera and stuff. We need more of that, I think. We do need more of that, I think. I think that would be nice. I think that would be very, very nice. One thing I will say, a lot of people didn't really like Hestia as well as a character in terms of her, in terms of course, the way she treated Belle, specifically in terms of the way she's like, oh, super obsessive and this. But you have to remember, for Belle and Hestia, when it all began, right, they were the only two people supporting each other, and I think there's always going to be that small sort of thing for each other, like that they're always going to be there for one another no matter what, no matter the situation. And I think people need to remember that is, yes, I feel like Hestia is definitely a bit obsessive, at least early on. She gets so much better over time, and I think that she deserves a little bit of credit for that as well. I do think she deserves a bit of credit for that. I definitely get people's concerns with the stuff at the start, for sure. But I really do think that she ends up becoming more maternal over time. Even as time goes on, she just becomes more and more maternal, which I think is perfect for her. I think I would have preferred her from being straight up maternal from the very get-go, being like an adoptive mother for Belle. But I appreciate the sort of character development, you could say, for Hestia as well, even if it is a very minor one and it isn't major. And to be honest, for some people, it's still not noticeable, I feel. And I think that's fair as well, because sometimes she does slip into that old tendencies. But I feel like for the most part, she does, exude those maternal tendencies as time goes on, And this is the big reveal, of course. The big reveal of Liaris Freese, one of the most controversial abilities in this in the story at this moment in time, of course, right? In terms of not only in the world itself, of course, but in the fandom as well now, especially with the events of the What If with Ryu, right? Liaris Freeze is a very fragile ability. We've known about this for a while now. I think Hestia has mentioned it as well in other volumes as well. I don't remember when she mentioned it. I think she mentioned it in season 2 or 3. I think when she did the reveal to the Hestia family members, I remember she mentioned it being a bit fragile, right? And the thing is, right, with Liaris Freeze, it's based on, well, it initially was based on only the obsession with getting to be in equal footing as eyes, right, on the same level as eyes. But then you had, obviously, things changed, development happened. So Liaris Freeze now extends to also 2 other things: the Astraeus stuff, and also with Astraeus, the fight against Astraeus, that obsession to obviously beat him and prove himself, and of course the obsession to also save the Xenoses, make sure to help the Xenoses, integrate them into society and stuff. And so if any of those things break, in the sense of him losing out on potentially, breaking one of those promises, effectively, you could say, it will break. The Liaris Freeze will break. It's any one of those. If he breaks it, if he breaks his obsession with eyes, his obsession with the Xenoses, or his obsession with obsession is a bit a harsher word to say, but it is effectively that, you could say as well, or that, or the absolute love and the desire. If any of those three things break, it's game over. And the reason why we know this is because of the what if. Omori himself has said it effectively. So, in my opinion, I think I love the JC stuff images and stuff, facial features. I think that's fantastic, honestly. Absolutely nailed it, in all honesty. I still maintain it. I think they did a good job at the early seasons. But yeah. As I was saying, I think people need to know that Galeriot Freese is a bit of a tricky one, for sure. Okay, now one thing I will say as well about season one that I would say this is about all the seasons, to be honest. I'd say season 4 a little less, so I feel they did it because of course of the sheer tension and everything, but they still had it a little bit. I think season 1 to 3 they needed to ease up a lot on the fan service stuff. I get it because it's of course with the whole situation with this, right? I'll talk about the hostess fertility and Seer in a moment. Of course, we'll get to them in a moment as well. But no, what I was gonna say was with the fan service, right? Like I get it with the premise of the series and the name and stuff, right? Absolutely, I get it. But I feel like I think if the series was a little less fan service, yeah, obviously have its fan service. I mean, let's be real, a lot of these fantasy anime and everything all have a lot of fan service at the end of the day. But yeah, I think they need to ease up. They should have eased up a little bit, because then I think more people would have been interested in the whole premise of Belle being a adventure and, you know, that whole journey and everything, you know. But if you can get past it, which I think it's fairly easy to, in my opinion, to be honest, with some of the stuff that's there, it is very quick and ignorable, in my opinion. Like, you know, I know some people were mad at some other shows like Fire Force and stuff for that, but yeah, it is. I think it's very ignorable, but yeah. A monster drop. Some more boys, some more homies. You could take them on, boy. I love how the music just goes in when he sees Eyes in the Rain. Liara's freeze kicked in. She's so mad. She is so mad. A lot of people also will, I will say this, in regards to this as well, as I was just waiting for that scene to finish. A lot of people forget, like I said earlier on with Hestia, right? A lot of people forget that Hestia and Belle were the only people, and then now seeing Belle being reliant on another girl or another person, period, for that matter, I would say. It's not nice to see, of course, you know? And now we get introduced to the hostess of fertility, who are a very interesting bunch. Probably, honestly, a very reliable group is the best way to put it, right? And of course, we're gonna see them being major players in season 5, of course, with Seer being a focus point, right? But to be honest, I would say they've been always major players in some way, shape, or form because of either Ryu, Seer, or combination of the two. To be honest, as well. Yeah, he's done. That's his money gone. He's broke. Yeah, the Hostess of Fertility is such a interesting place, but I think also the people running it are also very interesting. Of course, they all have their very interesting backstories and stuff, and it's one of those things where I wish we did have Familiar Chronicles be adapted as well, because Anya and Lunora's background, speak of the devil, Anya, Chloe, Lunora's background is very interesting as well, and I wish we could obviously see it in animated format so people could obviously you know, watch it and learn more about it. And then of course the Loki familiar as well, Sword Art Online. I mean, we've said this many a times. Sword Art Online is something that we've needed adapted like so often. I didn't even remember that they did that whole style for Belle. That is too funny. Oh my god, that is great. But yeah, I think the problem is with with Loki familiar, right? A lot of people have such a like such a perception of them because of the main stories. Loki getting absolutely done in as per usual. Man. But with the Loki familiar, it's such a interesting situation because I think, you know, with Loki familiar, you get to see a certain perspective of him from Belle's perspective. Effectively, I think that's the best way to put it, right? And so you only see a little bit of it, whereas because of this stuff, like for example, Bed being an absolute hunt, effectively, in the in this episode, of course, a lot of people end up hating him and stuff. What happens later on as well. People don't like him, but I think, you know, with Sword Art Online, you learn so much about him, and I think that becomes such an important thing. And it's why I said I'm so glad that people were able to, you know, use Danmimo as a way to record content and stuff, and then you know, have it on the internet for people to react to. Yeah, no, Rivera is the goat for this as well. I love that lean in. Oh my god. To be fair, people forget like Bet was a very good reason for Bell to kick. Oh my god, I forgot about this. I forgot about this entirely. No, what I was gonna say was, I think a lot of people forget that Bet was actually a good motivational factor for Bell to obviously continue improving as well. Because obviously he would have been improving, but to be fair, with that progress that he got in the morning, he would have been like super happy about it, and it would have been fine. Jesus Christ, I forgot this. Damn. Damn, I forgot he got nearly eaten there. But yeah, you know, it's like, this is exactly what it is. Like, a lot of people forgot how important Bet's thing there was. Because he's now extremely, like, his motivation's gone through the roof, basically. Yeah, cook them. Cook their ass. There you go, buddy. Yeah, no. I'll still say this, man. JC staff still need to improve their hand-to-hand combat stuff, man. I think that their weakest point for Danmachi is hand-to-hand combat, I feel. Some of the range stuff, some of the wide range shots work, but when they go into that close range hand-to-hand combat stuff, it can be hit or miss sometimes. There you go, my guy. My goat. My goat. My goat indeed. No, I think that's sick. Alright, let's skip the ending. Because we've seen the ending many a times, but yeah. Oh man. Monsterphilia is next, of course. Monsterphilia being next. That is something that we must watch as well. So we're gonna watch both episodes. Of course, like I said, 2 episodes in one video. Let me know if you guys would like to see that for all the episodes, so that way it's a longer like reaction effectively. But like, let me know your thoughts. You guys can let me know. I think if I had started last month, maybe we could have done an episode per video instead. But since we're only a month away, 30 days away basically, right? We've got 60 episodes nearly, but 12, let's say. I know that some of them are 13 episodes, but I think season 1's 13 episodes, season 2's 12, season 3 is 13, 4 is 22. So 13 plus 13, 26, 26 plus 12, 48, 38. 50 episodes. Yeah, 50 episodes. So we're gonna be cutting it fine, in all honesty. But let's see. Y'all can let me know. Maybe we do 2 episodes up until season 4 part 1's ending, and then from season 4 part 2 we do 1 episode per video. Alright, let's see this. I'll give him a push forward, my goat. Alright, we don't need this. We've seen the intro way too many times, and I don't want to risk anything in that case. All right. I forgot how much they adapted in like 2 episodes, man. It's crazy. Because I know that obviously Monsterphilia was like, obviously soon after the events, but it was like, for me it's so weird because I remember when it was the early days of Danmachi, Danmi more specifically, I would say, and I was still very fresh to Danmachi still. I hadn't read the light novels at that point. It was quite interesting that I kept mixing up the timeline a little bit at the early mid part where Lily joins and the Monsterphilia stuff. I kept thinking Lily joined first and then the Hestia knife stuff happened, but obviously Lily couldn't have joined if the Hestia knife wasn't a thing, you know? But it was something that I always kind of messed up on tremendously. But honestly, this scene / episodes, I should say, this episode and this part of the Hestia knife, Monsterphilia, I think was a significant point in the relationship between Belle and Hestia's just goddess and captain relationship, effectively. It would have been so funny seeing a level 6 captain, ex-captain of Freya Familia just taking on Belle. That would have been so funny. absolutely done and dusted, destroyed. Can't you? Scene card, baby. Danchro vibes. Nah. Obviously, also assists here in Danmimo. Focus your hardest on staying alive. People forget. I feel like, you know, again, I reiterate what I said earlier on with the hostess of fertility. The hostess of fertility is like, if you get killed, easily killed, I'll never forgive you. But yeah, the hostess of fertility is such a amazing bunch, in all honesty, and I feel like, again, with the Real Familiar Chronicles, and also the also, to be honest, even to an extent, some of the Sororiter stuff and cut content we've got from Danmachi, I think you could have such good character development for them, and I feel like a lot of people forget about that. Again, I might make a video talking about the importance of them as well, and or actually no, even better than that, if you guys have follow Advisor Lorne, one of the goats of Danmachi YouTube, by the way. Highly recommend you guys go and watch his video on the hostess of fertility. But yeah, I forgot the goddess's party here. Yeah, hello. We saw Taki, Migazuchi, and Hermes as well, the goats. Was Miyake there as well? Yeah, this cheeky bugger as well. I don't like to deal with you. Oh, Chibi. That's too funny. Oh? I forgot about that diva face. To be honest, I will say this: that Loki dress version, I pulled it from in Danmimo too many times, man. Oh no! Straight to the dagger, straight to the chest with the dagger. There was no need for that. There was zero need for that. Oh my days. Oh my god, the arrows, I didn't remember. There's no need for this. There's no need for the backgrounds. Great face. I'm not letting you in one malice. Considering, yes. I think Hephaestus is one of the more underutilized characters in the anime, I will say. Because in the light novels, they do such a good job with her as well, right? In certain stories that unfortunately have not been adapted in the anime. Volume 8, of course, I think a lot of people will immediately point out, right? Including myself. I've mentioned it many a times. That it is a shame because I think she is a very significant character, especially for Velf's development as a character, right? But yeah. But also that was very funny with Freya leaving, everybody left. That's too funny. Oof. Yeah, to be fair, Hephaestus dealt with Hestia for a while. $800,000 Valis. Ooh, Miyak-sama. Oh, I love that they had the animated mark for the fact that he was pressed against the glass. That's a nice touch. Small touch, but you don't notice it usually. I feel like it's such a annoyance because there's so much. Oh, Welf was there. I didn't even notice that. Oh my god, I didn't remember that. Oh, that's a good touch. I don't think they actually was in the light novel, so that's a very nice touch for the anime to make. Again, the anime has done some good things here and there to obviously help with the creation. No, but what I was saying was earlier on, before I got rudely interrupted, I think there's so much cut content, and I love how immediately I was gonna make that point of cut content. But then they introduced additional content that I don't think we had in the light novels, if I recall correctly. But with the with the cut content side of things, it's just such a shame because there's so many things like NASA with Hephaestus and so on and so forth that I think they could have done so much better on, in that sense, with certain character development. And I get, like, obviously, production committees have only a certain amount of episodes assigned to the studio, right? So, like, production committees say, like, okay, we've got slots for 12 episodes. That's all you're gonna get, and this is the deadline. Right, and I don't blame the studios that much for that. To be honest, can't do much. But and this is, I'll put more blame to the production committee. For light novels, especially, you need to have 24 episodes. To be honest, it's a lot of people will say, "Oh, but that's too many episodes and stuff." I disagree. I think you need it realistically. With like volumes 1 to 5, maybe not so much, but still, I would say like 18, 19 episodes would have been easily much better for season 1. Season 2, 100% needed 24 episodes. War Games, got it. Ishtar was not bad. And then, of course, we had the stuff with Volume 8 just completely cut, right? Volumes 9 to 11 should have definitely been improved on. And then we saw how good that was in Season 4, with 22 episodes, but yeah. Ah, yes, the infamous 200 million Valis debt. Okay, now this is where things get interesting, with the Hestia knife. Also, that ass. That ass was very nice. No, but I was gonna say with Hephaestus's making of the Hestia knife, right? I think it should have been a weapon that could have changed shape, which would have been elite. It would have been unlikely to happen, but with Hephaestus making, I think, and of course Hestia putting a little bit of spice on top of it as well, I think it should have been something that could have changed shape, at least in various forms of swords, effectively. So dagger, short sword, long sword, great sword. I think it should have been something like that. That would have been so much cooler. Lasagna. Just got a brain sear, yeah. You're the dumb one, Ryu. Now that's a better explanation. See? I'm surprised we, well, I guess after the whole, well, annual festival, never mind, I forgot. I forgot Monster Fillet was annual. I thought it was every 6 months or something. I was like, why haven't we seen it again in the light novels? But it makes sense, annual. Yeah, we were still in year one. People forget how, like, we've not done that much time. Bells just grown, like, insanely in, like, 6 months, basically. And how, I love how nobody's paid attention. Well, no, people have paid attention, I should say, but yeah. I think, again, that also scene was cut as well, if I'm not mistaken. That should have been a lot better. The interaction between Freya and Loki. I was gonna say Seer and Freya, which hasn't happened yet. Will happen probably in season 5. But I meant Freya and Loki is I think it should have been, in my opinion, the way it was in the original one. Like, they talk about it here a little bit more, but I think Sword of Toria especially, I think, expands on it really well. I love this black and white that they did, by the way. That's such a good touch. Have the color in the background and stuff. And then Belle comes across walking slowly. Also, by the way, Loki looks amazing with casual clothes. I really like her with that shirt and stuff. Alright, now we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes of this episode, of course, in a moment. Alright, let's have a look and see, because I wanna let it kind of play on its own thing as well. I don't wanna, obviously I've used this as a way to do some live commentary over talking over the episode and stuff, right? But like I said, I wanna make it something that I'm also watching at the same time and like kind of digesting a little bit as well when it's slowing down a bit, but yeah. Alright. Ah, yes. Crepes. Potato crepes. They really didn't make anything apart from potato crepes or potato based things. Although I wouldn't say eyes would mind too much, to be honest. So happy in life, honestly. But the happiness is about to end in a minute. The happiness is about to end in a minute. Freya's coming through, slowly but surely. Big boy Silverback, baby. You'll do. I remember when so many people were like, you know, Frey is the primary antagonist and stuff. And to be fair, season 5 coming soon. But like, it's quite funny that I feel like the thing is with Danmachi, it's outside of like the evilest team members, right? Sure, Cunning. I feel like outside of season, or sorry, outside of Evilus, I feel like there's no real full proper antagonist kind of thing, like a villain, evil villain kind of thing. But there are, oh my god. But there are moments of like people obviously being the antagonist. Okay, I should probably have been a bit more clear. This is an acquaintance. I forgot that they made that joke. Daedalus Street. Daedalus Street. Daedalus. Oof. People forget that he still has PTSD from that moment. Yeah. To be honest, especially if it's that moment as well. Yep, the blade shattered. I love that. That actually was sick. Oof. I mean, like I said, some of the impacts and stuff is so good. I lost my train of thought with what I was gonna say, but yeah, no, yeah, PTSD. A lot of people forget that he had full-on PTSD with the Minotaur. Like, I mean, if you're in that situation where, oh, I still remember watching this part as well, and it was like, holy shit. And that also hurt me. That also hit a bit hard as well. Now, especially knowing now, his past and stuff. Like when I rewatched it in the game, Danmachi specifically, I think it was amazing in that sense, and of like how insane it was. But yeah, we're gonna come back. We're gonna leave that on a cliffhanger, of course, right, as well, and come back to it in the future. But yeah, I'm quite curious to see what you guys have to say about the episodes and stuff, of course, right? Let me know what your thoughts on the two episodes. But for me, Danmachi's season 1 was started off with a pretty big bang, in terms of like just generally the way they approach the mythological beings, the premise, of course, of the dungeon, the level up system, and everything. As a young impressionable kid, I would say, if I say impressionable, I was like 16 or 17 at the time when I started watching Danmachi. I really enjoyed it in the sense of like it's right up my alley. Fantasy, mythological beings, an RPG-esque system, effectively, monsters. It hit all the right bullets, and of course, there was that whole underdog story factor as well with Belle, right? Level 1, nowhere to be seen, and then obviously has a big goal of matching effectively one of the strongest characters in the series. And then, of course, it expanded from there, of course, with season 1 and, of course, future seasons as well. I think Danmachi especially helped it because I remember season 1 came and, you kind of ignore it and you move on from it. But then, obviously, Danmachi dropped, and I remember one of my friends, at the time, one of my moderators for Dokkan, when I was playing Dokkan on Twitch, he told me about it. He told me about this, of Danmachi, and I was like, oh, wait, I've heard of that series before. And I started playing, and then, of course, everything fell right into place after that. So obviously, now, you look back on certain things like I don't want to lose my family anymore, knowing what Belle's past is, not just with Zeus, of course, Zeus being the primary one, then the only one he knows, but Althea and his parents, Materia, and so on, right? I think it makes a big, like, it's a one-off line, but it actually has such a bigger connotation because of everything that's happened, right? But anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, take it easy, everybody. Bye-bye.